You can trust me with your money. We have a board of directors. We have a mission, a vision statement that we will be compliant. We will give you accountability for where your funds are going. And when if you're a non-profit and you never registered your company, people are like, we can't trust you with our funding. We can't trust you. But yes, maybe your niyat is good, and yes, maybe your intention is that you are going to be doing amazing stuff for your community. But you've got to register your non-profit. Because this way you are asking people to trust you to give you their money the same way you need to tell them, trust me, I'm a registered non-profit. And this way there's a tax implications for companies as well. But if you're registered, then they actually get the tax, I think it's concession. That's
yes, where they actually, you apply for it and then you say you're a new business starter-upper, and then obviously they go ahead and do the necessary, and that allows you to pay your tax on a monthly basis.
Yes. So basically, once you do your registering of your company name, then make sure that you find out what is your URL. The URL is for your website. Register it. There's guys out there that's so clever. What they do is they see that you've registered your company, but they notice, like, they follow you on Google and they check, okay, but you haven't yet registered the domain. So what they do is they buy it. And let me just tell you something. Nafeesa, I'm going to throw you in the deep end because I normally do this. And Wednesday is never the same if I don't throw you out of your comfort zone, right?
Oh, dear. Here we go.
Nafeesa, do you own your URL?
Oh, goodness. This is the thing the guys were scolding about the other day. I get so hectic between two places, between the two businesses that I'm running at the moment. Excuses. I knew you were going to say that.
You are a huge friend. And you have to, like my brand, you can see, if you Google my handle, which is Rooksana Modan, you will find that I own the URL of Rooksana Modan. I'm a brand. And Nafeesa Dangor is a brand, so you should own your URL.
Okay.
And that's important because what actually says is that nobody else can touch your domain.
Right.
You understand? So these are vital. And why I pick on you is because I know that our listeners all are like, oh my word, I didn't think about that. Right?
Neither did I. I mean, the thing is, I think a lot of the times you get so involved in what you do that you don't realize how important it is actually to have this. And I think you're so right. A person that's in my space of trying to reach out there to as many as possible to be able to uplift them, it's important to be able to have that URL so people can have a space to refer back to.
Absolutely. And I mean, you do such amazing work, right? The other day, one of your listeners, I mean, she's literally a stalker now. She's so amazing. She didn't go into my Facebook. She didn't go into my Instagram. She Googled me.
All right.
I think she called into your radio station and she asked them how to spell my name. And then she Googled me. And she came back with comments to say, oh, my word, I didn't understand how big your brand is. So anything that Nafeesa Dangor is doing, and you do such amazing work, right? Nobody knows it because it's not attached to your handle.
Right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So what you're trying to tell me is people don't actually understand the value and the quality of work that you do, and they don't appreciate it until you're out there and people get to see what you're doing. Is that when they're going to buy into that brand and basically buy into building you up and growing you for the future?
Yes. So if you look at some of our brands that are out there, I mean, amazing things they're doing, and people don't even know about them. I mean, when guys come to me and they're like, Rooksana, can you help me? Can you grow my brand? Can you? And then the first thing I say is, do you own your URL? And he says, no, why should I? I'm like, that's your brand.
Right.
And that's important. So the next one we go on to is your profit company. We spoke about the non-profit.
Yes.
We spoke about the URL. And I'm going into a profit company. That is the company which, without restrictions on the transferability of your shares, and that does not prohibit your offers to the public, right? That's your normal company. You get different kinds of companies. You get personal liability companies. You get state-owned companies. You get private companies. The thing that I want to let you know, and this question should be on everybody's mind. People that are doing businesses without being registered, don't know the danger of it.
Right.
So when you haven't registered your business, what you're saying is, I'm liable for my own death.
Right.
And in this time, especially of the pandemic that is hit, we're going into a second wave, things have been so bad on so many small businesses, right?
Yes.
And those that haven't registered and they are doing home businesses where they have small little accounts where they're buying stuff, if they have gone insolvent, they are liable to pay all the debt. Whereas
Okay.
if your company went insolvent, your company holds the debt. You as a person is safe. And I can
Oh,
tell
I
you,
get what you say. So
I've
there's a
got
difference between
over,
the two, because
yes,
otherwise what happens is you find yourself in attack mode, because they associate everything with you yourself as opposed to the
absolutely,
company.
absolutely. So what you're doing is you're actually risking your family and your livelihood. So yes, things happen. Things do happen to companies, and large companies go insolvent or they sell their shares or whatever. But if you're not registered and something goes wrong, they can attach your house, they can attach your car, they can attach your assets,
Mm.
and they can actually hold your children liable for your death.
Sure.
So it's very dangerous. And registering a company says this company is liable for all expenses, all liabilities, all debts. If that company goes down, it goes down only with the director. Your children, your family, your home is safe. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I think a lot of people have missed that one. The other part,
What about,
just
I
want,
have a question for you. What
yes,
about, like I got this question in now, and it's, there's young people that are starter uppers, right?
mhm.
In different spheres as such. And do you think it's as important for them as well to register? Because, like you say, they themselves are accountable for what they do. But the importance of relaying that back to say that these are the types of things you can avoid if you register, even though you're an individual. I mean, you get like some people that are photographers, videographers, other people work in their own space where they're accountants, but they work from home. So would that refer to those people? Would they have to do the same things?
If I tell you, I do the same advice for my children that I would give to any other of my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You yourself are a brand. If you value who you are, whether you are 5, 10, 15, or 100 years old, you should register your business. Because on the basis is if you trust your product, if you trust what you're doing, you now can put it forward to bigger corporations. And bigger corporations are buying from farmers, but they only buy from the smaller farmers that are registered.
Right.
Okay, the bigger companies like petrol stations and the food lovers. I'm trying to give you examples of this. Checkers.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen these tables with all these home baked cookies.
Yes.
Those ladies have to register their business
Mm.
because what it's saying is that my product is guaranteed. I'm also tax compliant. They need to know you are tax compliant. So they support smaller businesses.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying. Basically, what you're trying to tell me is, having started up this business, and of course, in order to expand and get these bigger corporates to buy into you, you definitely have to, of course, go through all this necessary so that they understand that you mean business and you're serious about what you're doing. So they will, of course, look at giving you that chance.
Let me give you an example, Nafeesa, so this will put it into perspective as one of the most basic business ideas that came about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lady, she came up with a house bread. A lot of people are banned with gluten intolerance and all these
Yes.
allergies and whatever. So she came up with an amazing bread. And she started selling it to the spas and she started selling it to the gyms. And then she contacted me and she said, Rooksana, I need to get myself ready. The first
Right.
thing is get your company registered. Secondly, own your URL so we can brand you. And thirdly was, you need to get a halal certificate. And she was like, but I don't understand why. I don't have meat in my product. I said, there's so many, hundreds of thousands of Muslims that are going to buy your product. But if you do not certify it halal, you won't be able to get that business.
Mm.
So she got the halal certification, and now she's no longer using her product in gyms and smaller. She's now going into Pick and Pays, Checkers, and Food Lovers. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
So once you make yourself compliant, once you get the food safety house to come out and give you that certification to say you are preparing food, you're doing it the healthy way, you're doing it the safe way, you're making sure that your packaging is safe, it's all environmental friendly.
Right.
So usually corporations want to support your business. So what I'm saying is, if you want to do it your way, go for it. But if you want to do it the right way and open up your brand and you want to expand to make this a business that's going to be fruitful and profitable for you, then make sure that you are compliant. Very important. Nafeesa Dangor is a brand. You should be compliant because if somebody else is looking to have an amazing MC or a woman that's just coming to speak at the event, you are a brand. So they'll be able to pick you up by that. So yes, you don't need to register Nafeesa Dangor as a business, but you can register Nafeesa Dangor as a brand. Get your URL, put it out there, get your business Facebook page, and those all don't cost any money.
Right.
Do you understand? So for me, if we go back again, if you're having a car wash business and you started at home and you're saying, listen, this is going to be a new concept, try it out for 3 months. But the minute you're trying it out for 3 months, go into the mindset of, I'd like to pitch this to huge businesses. I'd like to pitch this to petroleum stations. I'd like to pitch this to motor mechanics. I would like to put this to malls because I could put this service in shopping malls to wash people's cars without water.
Right.
So start thinking out of the box. And that's where our biggest problems come out. People start the business, they have amazing concepts. They get tired, they don't follow through on compliance. And then within 3 months to 6 months, that business just diminishes and falls back.
That's true.
You get better discounts. I mean, when I registered my first business, I was 25. My first business was a supermarket. And when I registered my first business, I registered it the proper way. I went and I opened up proper business accounts. I started getting discounts that I never received a year before.
Yes.
I got rebates that were never available to me because I was never registered.
Right.
So there's so much of benefits. One thing, just before I run away from watching time, the most important thing is when you want to do compliance, a lot of people never do an exit plan. Make absolutely sure you have an exit plan because anything can happen to you. Whether you have a business partner, whether you one-man show, make sure you have an exit plan. Make
When
sure
you
that you
say
have
an
insurance.
exit plan, what sort of an idea of a lot of people don't understand the concept of an exit plan. So let's just quickly just give them a few tips very quickly.
Okay. So an exit plan is if myself and you open up a business together, Nafeesa, and we have a events company. And I need to put in an exit plan saying that, yes, this company, we're going to grow it together as business partners. But in case of my death, which we don't know what our future holds, that is purely Bala as well. So if anything happens to me or I decide I no longer want to be in business with you, Nafeesa, I just want to have friendship with you, the exit clause needs to say, first person to be allowed to buy my shares would be Nafeesa. The exit clause would say, in case of my death, my children need to pay you out for the shares, or you need to pay them out for my shares if you want all of them, or my children can take care of my 50%. So what you're doing is an exit plan is part of your legal entity agreement.
Right.
So when it says Nafeesa and Rooksana will be business partners, there will be 50% shareholders of each. If there's death, the exit plan as well covers that. It says that if we are busy working together, make sure you have partnership agreements. A lot of brothers, I do a lot of business interventions, and actually when I ask the guys, where's your documents? They're like, no, we love each other, we're brothers. And I'm like, yeah, now you're ready to kill yourself. You're ready to beat each other up because you didn't do the right paperwork. So whether it's family, whether it's friends, I go in, I make sure that they're compliant with the right legal agreements, with the right exit plans. When it's to say, in 6 months' time, that family is not happy, what happens to their shares? They need to get paid out to the value of what they've grown. Many families fall apart because they put all the sons together in a business, they grow this business, it's got a value of 2 to 3 or 5 million, and then they just kick one person out. That's not fair.
Right.
That business was grown together. If that person has a 10% share in that business, they need to work out what is the value of that share to that date and give him his 10% worth and pay him out to leave. And that's the right thing to do.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. What you've told us today is very valuable because I think a lot of the times people think it's just, you just start up a job and you just do what you have to do and that's it. And not realizing the implications of not doing the necessary, how much it's going to actually hold them back in this little bubble that they can't burst out of unless they've done all the necessary.
Yep, definitely. I think the most important thing is do your homework. Make sure you got somebody there's many people out there that's business coaching. I mean, I make sure I look after my clients and there's other people just like me. So reach out to the right people to help you. And especially when it comes to partnerships, especially when it comes to family, align your families, align the values, align what each person will be responsible to do in your company. And then also, what is the percentage of share they're going to hold? And many times, 3-4 brothers start a business. The problem doesn't lie there. They all get along well. Then they bring in their kids. And when the kids come in, one brother says, but I only have one child. You have 4 kids. You've brought 4 people into this business. Right. So you need to have the agreements to stipulate when each person comes in. What would happen? Do you give them a 2% share as a person coming into the company? Do you give them a 5% share? Why would one brother get more because he's got more children? Do you understand? Those are things that we don't take into account for. But when things go wrong, families break apart.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. You've definitely enlightened us as far as that particular aspect is concerned. I think you got me also thinking about my URL. Yeah, I think that's something I need to get going on. Yes. But it's so nice to see that you've left us with valuable information that we can start off the new year with in a better way. And of course, move our businesses in a different direction. Of course, as we know, with COVID-19, people have been in, such a situation, and it's sometimes having to just have that sort of information to be able to kickstart you all over again.
Definitely. It's never too late to fix the problems that we are bringing in. Never too late to relook at the contracts that we have to fix them. And it's also never too late to put in the right documentation as exit plans, partnership agreements, percentage shares within families. Do the right thing now, make yourself compliant, and you would have a thriving, profitable business. Take care of yourself, Nafeesa, and to all our listeners. Once again, it's such a pleasure to be on your show. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. But before we go, we want to actually wish you nothing but the best throughout the last few days of the new year, because this is our last show besides tomorrow with you, with us for the year. But of course, we're definitely going to get in touch next year once again and entice people into better spaces through business and, of course, through life coaching. But we want to thank you so much for your support throughout the year. You were phenomenal. I think you've enticed loads of people into different spaces and better places. And I really want to say a real big thank you on behalf of the listeners and ourselves. We always look forward, the team and myself, to these particular segments, because it doesn't just help only the listeners, but it gets us thinking, because I think post the show we all are kind of thinking about what Rooksana had to say and how we can better that. So from myself and the team, Jazakallah so much. We really appreciate the valuable advice that you've given us. I think it's something that's going to stick with us for the rest of our lives. It's definitely a set of treasure. So once again, thank you. We wish you nothing but the best with your days off, go through the holidays, and of course to stay safe with the situation that we're in at the moment, and look forward to chatting to you in the new year.
Jazakallah so much, Nafeesa. Be safe, be loving, and just take some time out. I know how hectic your schedule is. Rest. And to all our listeners out there, this is a time just to rejuvenate, refresh, relove, and just love yourself. Take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was Sister Rooksana Modan talking to us about what documents are needed when starting up a business. And I think she's given us loads of valuable information. I think I've learned a lot this afternoon just with regard to that particular aspect. So I think it's something that we should all start thinking about and seeing how we can expand our businesses going forward, of course, into a new year. We're going to go for a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be back with something very important, a breathing coach. So stay with us. That's very important. We need you to stick with us.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media.